jungle room, the vines hang deep. Breeze and raindrops as the emerald boa slither. Face to face they draw their guest in close. Their calm invites us to come hither. Every corner built for curious mind, a jungle playground, nature design. Build them homes, let instincts flow. Babies born, tiny lives begin to grow.
Greetings, Synergy. Thank you for the nice comment. My daughter helped me make that little music video with the song and all of the clips. It was a fabulous little project we worked on.
It was amazing. I'm so impressed.
Guys, this is Shira Loa from Snake Therapy, and we're super excited to get to talk to Shira today. Something that we have, a big piece that we have in common is that we enjoy sharing our animals with others, as well as building naturalistic habitats. So we're going to chat all about that good stuff today. So Shira, you want to just tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, my name is Shira Loa. I have a YouTube channel called Snake Therapy, and I focus a lot on the emotional and mental health benefits that working with these animals can bring to us, but also that getting from them means we have to give to them first. So it's an exchange. So the kind of connections that we can have with these amazing creatures, the benefits are only exponentially growing if we give them as much as we can in return. So that's and I work with an animal therapy nonprofit as well. So we take all sorts of animals, including snakes and reptiles, to visit with all types of people. I mean, everybody, foster kids, seniors in care homes, birthday parties too, but just all sorts of people. And it's just been a really magical experience to get to do that.
That's fabulous. Is that something that somebody, like you had a mentor that was doing that, or you felt it? What brought it on?
Oh, so the animal therapy nonprofit is called The Little Zoo, and it is run by my dear friend Erin Maxick. She founded it in 2020, and so she has a whole menagerie of different types of animals, from chickens to reptiles to like hedgehogs and all of the things. So she started this in the hopes that she could help bring joy and healing through connections with animals to people for low or no cost, to people who couldn't normally get a chance to hang out with these animals because they couldn't afford it. There's a lot of like educational programs that do this kind of thing, but it costs a lot of money. So she was doing, paid events to just basically keep the nonprofit going, so that when, say, the Braille Society wanted us to come, we could offer that to them for no cost. So that's kind of how we keep the organization running. And so she just asked me if I kind of wanted to bring my snakes to one of her events. She was having a community day in a park, and I was hooked. I was hooked after the first time. I was just like, this is amazing. So I didn't just, I was volunteering, but then I became part of the board. So I'm on the board for the nonprofit. I'm the treasurer, and I also still volunteer and help her with enclosure builds and that kind of thing. So yeah, I was hooked after that. And it just kind of, the more I did it, the more I just felt like, oh my God, this feeling like watching people have these experiences and just the joy and the wonder and it made me feel so good that I was like, I want to do this more on a like focused on snakes specifically because most people are afraid of snakes in general, you know, and it's not a thing. But I've seen how beautiful these experiences can be, so I want to talk more about it, and that's where my channel came to life. So
It's fabulous work that you do. I can imagine. Did you say the Braille Society?
I
And
did. We went to the Braille Institute. Yeah.
that's for not seeing people, right?
It's for primarily, yes, but it's across the board. So we had a small group of kids and their families, and these kids, some of them were only blind, but others had multiple conditions. You know, blind and deaf, or they had other things going on as well. So it was all across the board, and we do things similar to that. At other locations and with other organizations as well. So that was really fascinating because normally they can see them. So it was a very different way of approaching, you know, like you basically have to describe these animals, and you take their hand and you like touch the animal, and then you talk about the animal. And normally you're not doing that. You're like, look at how cool this thing, and they see it. So it was a very, very interesting experience.
You get to see it through a whole different set of vision.
Yeah,
Type
I
of
mean, I
vision.
had to be their eyes as well, but imagine what it was like to not see this animal
Right.
and to feel something they've never felt before. And yeah,
Well, when
it was
you
very
first
cool.
said Braille Society, the first thing I thought of since you mentioned hedgehogs is the difference between touching a hedgehog and then touching a snake and not being
Yeah,
able to see. Like you said, you have to
yeah,
describe it.
yeah.
Chris, if you're listening, if you have a chance and you can do it during the podcast, can you put us side by side? Because every time we get a question up, it's cutting Shira's face out. So if you're able to do that.
Oh, it's not doing that. It's not doing that on my screen, but
Oh, okay. I don't know if it is. You guys can tell me if it is or not.
okay.
But yeah, that's incredible trying to describe anything. I mean, it's like a game that you play in groups, just trying to describe a little picture with shapes. So
Yeah,
explaining a whole animal with no arms and no legs, and
yeah, yeah.
even
And
though I would, in my mind, I would think that children with special needs would be less afraid initially than children without special needs. Somehow, it seems like they would
it
be more
totally
trusting.
depends. It totally depends, to be honest. You know, we've definitely there's one place that we go to repeatedly with very young kids. They're under 10 for sure. They're probably less than 8 years old. And they have a range of disabilities. And some of them are not non-vocal or nonverbal rather. Some of them are a little more, and they all have a caretaker that's with them during the process. And sometimes they're just like all about it. They're just like, yeah, and you have to actually be cautious because they don't mean to, but they'll just like go and kind of grab.
Mm, yes, yes.
And they've just, my snakes are so they're so good. They're just like, oh, just squeeze. They're so good. But you know, and other times I have had kids who are very afraid, and sometimes their caretakers will, you know, help them. You know, it's okay, you can touch, and other times it's like, you just look. It's okay. We'll just look. Do you see this? What does that look like? And you kind of ask them questions to get their brains kind of going and get them like past that fear, if they had any. Is that working? Is that
No, it's
is
still, for me, it's still covering up her face. But if it's not for everybody else, I have her face saved in my memory, so I'm okay.
What does it look
Um,
like for everybody else?
yeah, you guys let us know. And also, I want to say hi to Gabriel and Morella. Thank you guys for coming. And I'm not sure who said it earlier. I think it was Morella that they had taken their snake to share somewhere. And that's
Oh,
just
nice.
incredible. We all know, us in this group right here really know how it feels to get to share those animals and actually see them through somebody else's eyes. And
Yeah.
it really intrigues me about the special needs children, especially because that way, like we just talked about, you have to be able to see your animals in a whole different way that you don't normally look at them. But now you're learning how to look at them that way and describe. Oh,
Yeah.
Syzygy is the one who took their animals to meet other people. Good job. It's a great way
Nice.
to be an ambassador for these animals who need the whole world to know that they are lovable.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's really crucial to do this for kids, because it's the adults that have the biases, and they can pass those to the kids. The kids wouldn't be scared otherwise. And, I was going to say this later, but I mean, one of my favorite things is when kids will come up to me, they'll come straight up to my snake table and be like, I hate snakes. Snakes are the worst. I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want to touch. And I'm like, okay. And then at the end, within an hour, I swear to God, it happens all the time. Snakes are my favorite animals now. Did you know snakes are my favorite animal? It's just like, they don't, it's not ingrained. Somebody told them that snakes were scary, but they don't really believe that. It's just like, that's what they were told. And when they realize that, they're like, this isn't scary. This is really cool.
I really like one thing you just said, especially, was that people are biased. Instead of saying afraid or scared, because people feel excused to be afraid or scared of something, but to be biased is actually a choice. And I really like
Mhm.
that because I think it would get folks thinking better than to say, don't be afraid, don't be biased. I'm definitely going to integrate that.
Yeah, I mean, that's really important, because we have a lot of adults as well. It's not just kids.
Yes. And those
Yeah,
caregivers.
yes, yeah. Mom, I want a snake. That
Yes.
happens too all the time. That happens too.
Thanks, Gabriel.
But I just lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, well, we have a lot of adults, always, and anytime that an adult is like, no, 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 you know, there's a mix of things that you need to do. You do need to be compassionate and understanding, and not like
No
push it in their
condescending.
face. Yeah, I mean, pressing it too hard is not going to get you the outcome that you want. It's more of a kind of gentle, little bit of a roundabout, and give them their space, but try and spark that wonder. And I usually just try not to give too much attention to the phobia or to the bias, and just be like, okay, but did you see how cool this is? Oh my God, check this out in the sunlight. Look at this, and just distract them completely, and just be like, yeah, okay, you're afraid, but did you want to just try touching, like just a little bit with a finger? Are you sure? Like, look at this kid. He's got the snake all over him. So, and then if they are a hard no, they're a hard no, and that's okay. And it still can be a good experience for them, because even people who have said, like, I'm not going to handle it, and they don't handle it, have at the end said, okay, I'm not running, like, that is progress.
Yes. Seeds are planted and the ground is
They might,
plowed.
yeah, I mean, at very minimum, a person who's seen that kind of interaction with a snake is gonna think twice before, like, going and killing one, in the wild.
And
And
be
to
more
me,
likely to take
that's
advantage next time.
yeah. And to me, that's progress. That's a positive thing.
Absolutely. I have people who come on our tours down here, and So far, I've had two ladies who stood outside the door while their families came in. And then I know you see it. Anybody who shares reptiles, especially snakes, sees it. As soon as the other people are comfortable and excited, then that person will inch in slowly. And like you said, look at this little feature or feel how that feels. And then they'll do those little things, and
Mhm.
there's a breakthrough no matter how small, but most of the time it's a full breakthrough where I can put one. If I can get one around their neck and they're comfortable, I know I could put 3 or 4 more. So it's a really cool thing that we have these animals that we can use as ambassadors. And that doesn't just happen. You don't just get an animal and, "Ooh, that's a good ambassador." That is created. So why don't you tell us how you have created the safe spaces and the trust with your animals?
Um, okay, well, so first and foremost is providing security. That's number one. Uh, off the bat for when I get a new animal is providing as much. You can see there's just clutter everywhere in there, to make them feel safe and secure in their environment, and obviously leave them alone for a bit so that they can adjust and not force myself upon them. Hey, Cydia. Thank you. Um, and so security for them is first priority, is making them feel safe. And then that just continues in terms of, how my mindfulness about them, right? So in interacting with them, there's a lot of gentle, mindful desensitization. So I don't do strictly choice-based handling, but I do use some of those techniques.
Well, what is it
Like,
strictly? I don't know what that is.
so choice-based handling is something that I believe Lori Tarini coined that term, and that is only the snake chooses. That's it. The snake is the one that chooses your interactions. And I use a little bit of that for sure, but I don't always do that. It's more of I call it trust-based handling. So I'm not just going in and scooping them up. I'm spending a lot of time. Well, it's a lot about patience. It's spending a lot of time, putting my hand in the enclosure and letting them get to know my smell, and you know watching their body language, paying attention to their body language, their energy at the time, and their moods. Observation is a huge thing, and just spending a lot of time handling them and getting to know them and letting them get to know me, before they would ever be taken as an ambassador. And not all my snakes go on these trips. I think there's like 5 or 6 that are my, go to the little zoo event kind of
How many
thing.
snakes do you have in your little home zoo?
I have 10. One is a very recent addition. I'm hoping that I'll be able to take her. I don't know. We'll have to see, because she is rear fang venomous, so that could be a thing. But
What
she's
is
not
she?
defensive. She is a rufous beaked snake. She's the
Mm.
cutest snake on the planet.
Oh,
So that's kind of why I want to take her, is because you see her and you're just like,
melt.
oh my God. Like, cutest face I've ever seen, huge eyes, little snoot. And she's pink. She's
Mm.
pink with a yellow belly. So, and she's actually fantastic handling, like fantastic, not defensive at all. So it might just be more like I take her and I hold her and I get everyone to look at her and maybe touch her. So some snakes are more like I'll hand them off, and other snakes I will hold and I will share, but I won't, fully hand them off.
Yes.
And that's okay too. I mean,
Yes.
that's still going to be powerful. I mean, most of these people haven't gotten any chances to be around snakes. So,
What about people's energy? Do you ever see your snakes act differently according to how the people are feeling or
Oh
acting?
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, so I watch everybody like a hawk. Well, because we have events that are 10 people and we have events that are 100 people. So it's definitely like I have to be on my toes and making sure. Can we see any of the snakes today?
If you're going to show us one, we want the pink one with the yellow belly.
I know. I really want to bring her out. I almost had her out beforehand. I could go get her in a little bit.
Okay.
But what was I going to say? Okay, so they respond for sure. So one in particular moment, uh, in a negative way, was there was this one kid at this event that none of my snakes wanted anything to do with. And
Hmm.
my snakes are extremely tolerant. I mean, they've taken like getting squeezed and like almost, like fumbled and passed around. And they're just champs, especially my Mexican black king snake Anu. She is just like she and my Demerals are just like the champions. They're just the chillest, most wonderful ambassadors. But she wanted nothing to do with him, and none of them did. And so finally, I just kind of had to be like, you know what? There's some other animals that I think you could try, because he kept asking. And
Mhm.
every snake I got out, they were just like, no, no, no. So they
Wow.
obviously, there was something going on. And he had a very intense vibe going on
Mhm.
for sure. And then a really cool one, which was absolutely beautiful, is my BCI Cerberus, who's actually one of my shyest snakes. This was about a year ago or so, and he's opened up more since. But at the time, I usually just took him to show, and he'd just hang out. And I didn't, I'd hold him, but usually I wouldn't pass him around or anything. And this little girl, her name is Luna. I have it on video. She really, really, really wanted to hang out with him. And I was like, I stuck with them for a little while, and he was so calm with her, and she just fell in love. And I swear to God, 45 minutes they hung out. He curled up and fell asleep in her arms. And I look over and she's petting his head.
Oh
Now, this is
gosh.
a head shy snake who wasn't even like I was working on that. Like I was just barely getting to that. He was just passed out, just letting her pet. And by the end, like she was in tears when it was time for me to take him home.
I can't even see the screen right now because I have tears in my eyes.
It was so beautiful. It was so I'm so glad I got it on video too at the end, because I was
Oh.
just like, she was like, I'm in love. I'm in deep, deep love. And he obviously loved her too. Like
Yes.
this is the snake that, he's shy. And he's darted back from me. He's never been defensive, just always shy. So they're all these like, right? It's amazing.
It really is.
They're all individuals just like we are, and they can sense our energy for sure. Um,
Absolutely.
so yeah, there's one event we had a bunch of it's a organization that we do regular events with called the PCDA, and it's focused on neurodiverse kids and their families. And so this one event, there was one kid who he ran really hot, like he was just like really warm, and he was moving a lot with Anu, and I could tell it was time. She was like, okay, I think I'm done. Like I could just see it in her body language. So I took her back. But I don't know if you guys can see behind me, but little Elora is hanging from the top of her enclosure right now. That's
Mhm.
she loves to do this while I'm talking.
Oh,
Hi, Mimi.
she loves her mother.
She's a riot. Yeah.
Yes, I just love the way you show off the relationships with the animals. It's so unique. And the
Yeah.
more we show these relationships, the less unique it will become. And that's our goal.
Yeah. I mean, it's just fantastic because every time I do an event with the little zoo, when something like this happens with at least one person. One of the last ones we did was with foster kids, and there were two kids in particular that ended up, I think they spent at least half an hour with one snake, if not longer. They just got completely calm and just they were just totally focused. Yeah, she always wants to see what's going on. Right? Am I part of a group? Yeah, so it's a nonprofit called the Little Zoo. So we do animal therapy visits, and we also do birthday party educational events. But our mission is to bring healing and joy through animal connection with people who might not otherwise get the opportunity to do that, or people with disabilities, or we go to senior care homes as well, which is pretty powerful because some of those people, they never they don't have visitors, they don't get touch ever
Mhm.
anymore. So that's the mission of the nonprofit organization that I'm on the board of, and I
And
volunteer.
Morelia, in case you missed the beginning, Shira, she's the reptile part of this little zoo, and there are lots of other kinds of animals.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, that's what you do in the UK? That's awesome. We need to talk.
is that
That's
Morelia talking? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you please hit me up directly on Instagram or something so that we can compare notes?
Yeah, that'd be great. Collaboration is power.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very
Um,
exciting.
yeah, and then I guess we were talking about how I make them feel safe in their environment. And
Yes.
another big part of that is well, first security and patience with them and getting to know them, but then maximizing the space, giving them as much space as I possibly can. Right off the bat, I don't do grow outs really. I don't
Mhm.
do bins or anything like that. They go into, I mean, pretty large enclosures off the bat, and I go as big as I can. But I use the space as much as possible to encourage all the positive natural behaviors I possibly can. So that they have the opportunity all across their gradients to do all the things that a snake would do, even if I think that they might not do it. So if it's a terrestrial snake, I'm still going to give them climbing opportunities. And let me tell you, they all climb. They all do.
Mhm.
So giving them that means that they are much more responsive to me and tolerant of me and connect with me easier.
And more intelligent because they're actually using their brains to figure little things
Yes.
out and get to be curious about things. Larry and I say that all the time. We offer something and they enjoy it, and so we give them so much of it until we find the
Yeah.
thing they enjoy. But it is
Yeah.
so
Observation.
fun.
Observation. Like each animal, it's not just per species either. It's per animal. Like one of the same species might like some more of something than the other does. So it's really about like, I'm going to give you all the things, and I'm going to see what you like and what you don't and what you use the most, and go from there, and then we adapt and we change and we, grow together.
It's incredible to watch their little brains develop, because that's exactly what
Yeah.
happens. And a lot of it's pretty common in reptile keeping, especially with snakes, to keep them in very minimal spaces. And when I do get a comment about they don't need this or that, they don't need a rain chamber, they don't need all those vines, they just need a
I
perch.
don't need to go outside,
And
do
not
I?
even just us, but I always come back with the thing, we buy our dogs and our cats toys. They don't need those toys. And we do it because we enjoy watching them enjoy themselves. And we can enjoy these reptiles exactly the same way.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing to watch all that grow and develop.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't believe in minimums. That's not my thing. My thing is, how much can I do? Um, practically for myself and for them, like, how much can I do? And it's a never ending. Like, it means that, like, I might not be able to do this thing that I want to do right now, but it's going to happen. And I'm like always constantly working towards, what else can I do? What else can I do?
Yes, my poor
So,
husband has an infinite long list of all the things I want to do for the animals right now.
yeah. Yeah. No, my husband is super supportive as well. I'm not making him do it, but he's like all in on my big idea for having a snake therapy sanctuary building that will be open to the public. And he's just like all about it, and he'll help me make it happen someday. So
Well, we're really interested. We're talking about the naturalistic environments you build. And since
yeah.
we're not going to get up close to one of yours, you're going to have to treat us like some of the folks in the Braille community
Oh, yeah.
and describe to us what you do and how you build. For those of you who haven't seen the snake therapy videos on YouTube, she shows the entire builds, a how to. It's a fantastic series of videos on the snake
Thanks.
therapy YouTube. So give us a down low on all that.
Yeah. So I started doing that, really like kind of learning how to build out these environments, maybe a year and a half ago. And, I started like fumbling around. I wasn't very good at it, but I just tried stuff. And my main materials would be, oh, thanks, Cydia. Main materials are usually XPS foam board and paint and PVC sometimes, but I've been kind of experimenting. And then the other thing that I use a lot now is epoxy clay. So Zoopoxy, Polygem Zoopoxy. I learned it from Brad's Bioactive Builds. He's amazing. I'm totally inspired by him. Um, so I started off kind of like putzing around with it, and then I was like, oh, I'm hooked. I'm hooked, and how can I make this even better? So now they've really gone to the next level. I basically do a bunch of research on the natural habitat that the snake would live in the wild, on iNaturalist. So I get a bunch of reference photos for that, and then kind of sit there staring at an empty space for a while, kind of trying to imagine how to lay it out. But the most important thing is, for me, is that it's not just pretty for me. Like, it's for them. So it has to be functional for them first. It has to provide the security and encourage a broad range of positive behaviors and maximize the space. So we're not getting a 2-foot tall enclosure that they can only use the first, 1 foot of, right? So those are the three goals. And
Say it
then
again. Say those 3 goals again.
so provide security, encourage a broad range of positive natural behaviors, maximize usable space. And at the end, we think about us and how we can use it and how we can service it. right? So I come last. She is upside down right now. Oh, hey. Um, yeah, so yeah, those are my 4 golden rules of composition. And in that order, pretty much for me. So I want it to look pretty, but that's not the
The priority.
primary. Yeah, the priority is how are they going to use it and how does it make sense for this species and this animal? Because I know my animals, so I want to make sure that, oh, this one really likes to be up here all the time, and this one doesn't climb as much or whatever. But yeah, so that's kind of where things start, and I kind of just go from there. You
And you
guys
do
should.
vines and caves.
I make my own trees. I make my own root systems. So the other reason, I mean, I do use some natural materials. I do sometimes add some cork or whatever at the end, but I started making my own branches, my own trees, my own rocks, all of these things because that last rule of making it serviceable for me, I was having trouble with that with, the branches would rot or if the urates stained them and I couldn't clean the urates off. And, it was just getting really frustrating for me. As long as it still does what a branch would do, and it's not necessarily an actual branch, but I could clean it in a second with easily sanitize it. Then for me, I was like, well, I am an artist and this is fun. So I'm just going to make a tree. And I can make it so that the branch pops out and I can clean it and I can put it back in or, and it also allows me to utilize the gradients really well and the lighting. So if I think, okay, I want a basking area, I create the rocks and that stuff so that they have a gradient within that basking area so that the heat lamp is going to heat up the rock and yet there'll be a little nook for them to be inside it as well, and there'll be a gradient on that side. Create shade. Create some dappled forest shade in areas, where there's maybe in one there's an open space because it gives them a chance to openly bask and just give them all the things. So yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of work. I know.
It is. When I see your videos, I think, wow.
Well,
I twist soaker hose vines. That's all I have to do. So
I mean, it's also an outlet for me. So
yes,
it's a creative outlet for me.
absolutely.
I was an artist and a metal worker for many years. And this is my medium right now. So as much as it's for all of us, it's for both of us, the snake and me, because I feel the feeling I get when I put them in there and I have poured a month or more of time into literally creating everything and I watch them use it. Oh, it's the best. It's the best feeling.
Yep, Larry and I say that all the time, how much joy we get when we watch them enjoying the things that we built.
Oh my God.
And
It
they
is
do. They use it.
yeah,
Everything.
everything. Everything. Yeah. Actually, my favorite recent story of that is Severus, the BCI I was talking about earlier. He's been my shyest snake. He spent almost the first year of his life in a drawer, so
Mm.
no light, no hide, nothing. So he definitely was a little underdeveloped, and I think that led to him being a little shy. And I put him into a 4x2, and this was before I had started really building them out. And there was tons of clutter, tons of climbing opportunities, and he would just stay in one spot for weeks and then go to another spot for weeks. And he just didn't really explore. And I was just like, I switched it up. I like, I did all the things that I was thought that he needed, and he just really, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe this is just him. But he's a BCI, so he started to get a little bigger, and I was like, I'm gonna make him an 8-foot enclosure now. I'm just gonna do it, and I'm going to go crazy with it. I am going to go the extra mile. I am going to create a water feature, because he would always
Mm.
yeah, that's true. So
When you're in love with a
he would
thing.
always hover over his water bowl at night. Severus Snake, yes. He would always hover over his water bowl. And I was like, oh, I was talking with someone, and they were like, well, in the wild, they probably hover over the water to grab prey. And I was like, okay. So I want to encourage that. So I made a water feature, a big pool that had running, bubbling water with rocks next to it and a hide underneath the rocks and a branch over that. Right? Oh, nice. And I won't, because I wanted to see if he would, dangle over the water. And then I made a whole tree root hide, and I made a rock hide, and I made all these things. And the first 2 weeks, he hid the entire time. Like, he just did not come out. And now, oh yeah, he's doing all the things. He is doing all the things. He's moving back and forth across the 8 feet. He went up on the branch. He's going down into the water. Like, it is so awesome to see this. And I've had him for years. So it works. It works.
How big is he now?
He's probably about 5 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
So he's
those
not full
boas,
grown.
how big do those boas get?
He might get to like 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
Males don't get as big as the females do.
Oh, okay.
So he shouldn't be too big. How long did it take you to learn everything you know? I'm still learning, man. I am. Every single time I do one of these, I learn something new. And so I guess the first one I did was maybe 2 years, no, a year and a half ago. I
Mm.
think a year ago was my first one. So,
Wow.
if you want to see the water feature, I have a couple reels on Instagram that show the water and the lift up hide, and there's a rock like surround that I can take off to remove the tub and clean the tub. So you can see a like quick tour of his on Instagram.
Fabulous.
But as far as learning, I'm always learning. I do not
So that's
consider myself
amazing.
an
You just
expert.
started this a year and a half ago. Did your art involve sculpting before you started with snakescapes?
I mean, not with these materials. These are all new materials for me. I was
Right.
just like, I've always been really handy. As a metal worker, a fabricator, like
Right.
I have a lot of tools and I'm pretty handy, but these are all new materials to me. Like, I'd never worked with any of them before. So it was just a matter of fuck around and find out.
Yep. That's how we learn the
Yeah.
best, hands on.
But every one I do, I kind of get better, and they're very different. For the Rufus beak snake, I've been really enjoying watching her use her stuff, and it's totally different vibe. It's not a jungle vibe. She's from like the savannah or the
Mm.
bush belt in Africa.
Mm.
So it's like rocks that she almost blends into. They're kind of pink colors, and she climbs all over. She even climbs this tree I made. It's really cool.
Fabulous.
But
Yes, thank you
yeah.
for sharing all of that with us so we can go to your social media pages, Instagram especially, and look at all of the videos. That's
Yeah, it's really fun.
incredible.
I mean, just have fun with it. Have fun. Like, make sure it's safe, obviously, for them, and think about those priorities of encouraging positive natural behaviors, making sure that, it's gives them a lot of security, and you'll see them a lot more if you do that. And then just have fun. Have
And
fun
like
with
you
it.
said, the importance of research and looking at their natural environment.
Yeah,
That was
yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, enrichment is, it doesn't have to look like their natural environment. Enrichment can just, as long as it's safe, enrichment can like be, it can look like whatever. It doesn't have to be like natural, perfect looking like a tree. You know, I
right.
encourage everyone to just get creative. And as long as, you know, it's safe for them, then it's okay. You know, the looking like their environment, that is kind of for me too. But it's more of a functional thing as well. Like, oh, I looked at the tree from this particular rainforest and I tried to recreate what that would look like. Now, does she really know that that's what that is? Probably not. She's, you know, born in captivity, but that's for me. So
Yes.
yeah. Oh, and one more material I should drop here in case you guys do any of this stuff, is that I dry lock has always been kind of the thing that everybody uses. Hey, Kyle. Um, it has been the thing that everybody talks about using to paint their enclosures because it seals the foam and stuff. I now despise dry lock. I do not use dry lock.
Mm.
And there's reasons for that. It's got a sandy texture to it, which can be kind of cool for rocks. But if you just use dry lock, cleaning it is a bitch. It is horrible. It is so frustrating. So like for me, I just now I use acrylic, non-toxic acrylic paints, but I coat it at the end. I coat the whole thing, everything in Eco Poly clear sealant, and it's a UV resistant. I have a Discord. It's a UV resistant and animal safe, no VOCs, uh, polyurethane, basically, that is so easy to clean.
Mm.
So it just makes everything a breeze and it's safe for them. So I recommend that over dry lock any day.
Very nice.
They have done a study, Kyle. They did. They just recently came out with a study on brain size. So
Mm.
enrichment causes literally the size of their brain is bigger than
Wow.
if they don't have enrichment.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, that just recently came out.
I'm gonna have to look that one up and share it. That's a great study.
Yeah, Reptiles and Research has a couple of videos and an interview with the guy who did the study.
Mm. And what?
Um,
Where can we find that? You said
on the Reptiles and Research YouTube channel. How
reptile
does some
research.
Reptiles and Research?
Oh, reptiles and research. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. How does someone become part of my Discord? You can just go to my YouTube channel or my link tree on my Instagram, and there is an invite link. It is open to everyone. It is a really, really, really beautiful, supportive space, and we will keep it that way. So it is open to everyone, but you know, we make sure that everybody's supportive of everybody else. But I've been blown away. Everybody is just so sweet and kind, and they just love talking about how much they love their snakes. Great.
That's
It's great.
fabulous. I don't know what Discord is.
It's a little social chat app kind of thing, and
And everybody
it's a
chats
community
like in a
space.
group and
It's a community space. You can have channels for different topics.
mm.
So
Mhm.
it's yeah, I didn't really know either, but I was like
Well, you
it's
just
one.
dove into social media. You have
I
done so
did.
much in such a short time. It's just
I
spectacular
know.
how much work you've put into it. Making a post on Facebook or Instagram takes a long time. Putting
Yeah.
all those YouTube
Oh
instructional
God.
videos and sharing all that you've done, I know that's extremely time consuming. Thank you for all of
It's,
that.
do I have a podcast? Thank you. Yeah, it is a lot of work, especially because actually making the builds is so much work. And I have to go and edit all the footage. I don't have a, well, I have, technically I have a podcast, but it's part of my YouTube channel is the answer to that question. So my YouTube channel is a part like talking about snakes and happiness and how to take care of them. And then part of it is these tutorials. And then another part is me interviewing people about their experiences with snakes, specifically and most often people with neurodiversity and how there's a connection there between reptiles and neurodiversity. So that's more of like my podcast style stuff on the channel.
Can you tell us about the relationship between the neurodiversity and reptiles? That's super interesting.
It's fascinating. So for those of you who don't know what neurodiversity is, it means that our brains just have a different way of processing the world than what is typical or normal. So we would be people with ADHD, autism, sensory processing disorder, dyslexia, lots of different conditions where your brain just processes the world differently. And I don't like using disorder in those because it's just different. There's not anything wrong. It's just different. And there's different degrees of severity in these things, obviously, and there's overlap. So I have ADHD and I have anxiety and some depression as well. So I was curious, I realized that, when I'm with my snakes, I am with my snakes. I am in the moment. I'm not thinking 10 steps ahead. I am here. And I was going to these events with all these kids with neurodiversity and watching how calm and focused they were. And I was like, And then I looked on Instagram and a bunch of people I followed they would say like, oh, my ADHD or whatever. I was like, there's something to this. Okay. And I started doing research into it. So I put out a survey. It's an anonymous survey. You can put your information in there if you want to chat with me, or you don't have to. You can do it anonymously. Just saying, okay, what do you got? Like, do you have? What conditions do you have? What neurodivergent conditions do you have? What kind of snakes or how many snakes? There's a bunch of different questions you can answer that are check this box or drop down. But then there's also a handful of free-form text you can just write in response. I got so many responses and it is amazing.
Wow.
I'm still getting them. It's been a year and I'm still getting responses. The more responses I got, I was like, oh my God, there is so much to learn here. So I started aggregating the data and like kind of like picking out, okay, I keep seeing them say the same things. Like, I'm going to start counting how many people say they bring me calm and soothing. How many people say I feel like an outcast and reptiles are like outcasts, so I feel connected to them. So many people. Everybody said that almost.
Wow.
So I could literally count the kind of things that people said because there were so many similar things. And I started doing interviews with people about it. And it has just been life-changing. Life-changing. I've never been so moved in my life.
And those interviews you're talking about, when I watched them, I thought these are testimonies, powerful testimonies of how people have been affected by these reptiles, affected in such a fabulous way.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Very inspiring. And who would think to try that?
Mm-hmm.
So
it's been really one of the more profound experiences of my life, to be honest, and it still is. I just released an episode last weekend with yet another family who was struggling so hard with their 5-year-old child or 4-year-old child, and they could not figure out anything. They tried everything. Um, they tried everything they could think of to try and help him. And he had sensory processing disorder, and they think autism as well. And it was a snake. That's what it took. And that's not the first time that I've heard that. And he just calms right down. And we're talking about a child that had 4 or 5 meltdowns a day, where could not regulate, just freaking out, like losing losing it.
Mm-hmm.
And when there's a snake, nope.
Wow.
He learns how to regulate himself. So
His little
it's a
piece of
thing.
power.
It's a thing. And it's particular to reptiles for some reason. Like, they have other pets. Some of these people have other pets, and it's not been like that.
Mm-hmm. That is very special. This is the first episode I've done where I've got tears in my eyes constantly.
Oh,
I normally need glasses to read the comments, but forget about that today. I can't even see the whole screen. It is
So
such
sweet.
beautiful work that you're doing. And like I
thank
said
you.
before, the fact that we are spreading this and making it more normal, normalizing the love that these reptiles can fill us with, is the spectacular part of it for the animals. For us, yes, all the healing we're doing, but what we're doing for the other animals out there. I really liked what you said. Something I wouldn't have thought to say for sure was, it doesn't have to be their exact natural environment, just things to stimulate their curiosity and do things.
Yeah,
So
I
I
don't
know
want people to feel like,
you have to do a month's worth
you
of work
have to
to
do,
make
yeah,
it.
you have to build this from the ground up,
Root
and it has to
system and the
look exactly
waterfall.
like, yeah, no, like, it's important that everybody hear that, like, you don't have to do that in order to give them a very enriching life. And exactly, all you have to remember is that you gave them the greatest life they ever could have. Yes. And you're constantly trying to do that. And you're continuously, it never ends, and that you're like continuing to give. And again, it goes back to, like, when I say snake therapy, we get all these great things from interacting with snakes, but we cannot get those things if we do not give back. We have to be of service to them, right? And being of service in your life is one of the more powerful things you can do. Giving to another being, whether that's a human or an animal. And the more that you give them, the more they're going to respond to you. And it's just this give and take relationship. It's beautiful. Yeah.
And we're going to take just a quick break to say thank you to our amazing sponsors. And when we get back, I would like to talk about some of the things that we might think of all together as a group that we can use for enrichment, things people might know, or things that Shira knows that don't involve epoxy clay. All right, Chris,
Yeah.
we're ready. All right, we're back. I'm excited to just kind of put a list together right here of all of the different things we can use for enrichment for different types of animals. So we'll just spend maybe we'll see how the conversation goes. I know that I'm only putting some kind of time limit on it because I know this could go all night long.
I love this comment, by the way. Having snakes now has made me feel like my best self. Can we just talk about that for 2 seconds?
Absolutely. Thank you,
Because
Gabriel.
best self, right? That is you feeling an increased sense of self-confidence and self-worth, which is so powerful, right? We're not just talking about like, I get comfort, I feel good. Like you feel an increased sense of power in yourself, right? And that's really beautiful. That is really, really powerful. You feel like I'm being my best self, and how can I be even better? Like that's gorgeous. I love that.
I
I've heard
love that too.
it a lot.
And finding this community. This is an
Mhm.
amazing part of all of it is finding this community. And I do want to talk about that more toward the end when we're about to wrap up.
Mm, yeah.
The amazing community that you, all of you, have given us this.
Mhm.
It is incredible. Thank you.
While we're talking about enrichment items, since I know you have a bunch you could offer, should I try and get that cute
Yes,
little beak snake
absolutely.
out?
We are dying to
Right.
see pink and yellow, please.
I will get. I
It's
should
spring after all.
start. Okay, I'll be right back.
Wait, what's her name? Well, we'll wait.
Her
I
name
just asked what her name is.
is Rura or
Rula.
Rura.
Rura. Rura.
Yeah. So
Like
I
the
call
sun
it
goddess.
like it means roar of fire in some
Mm,
African language.
very
But
nice.
she's
Thank you.
not
Okay, we're gonna
fiery.
wait
I'll be
here
right
for
back.
Rura.
You talk about enrichment. I'll be right back.
Okay, yeah, we will. A lot of you know what I build these soaker hose vines. I use 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch soaker hose and thread it through with copper wire to make the hose nice and stiff, but still bendable. And it creates removable vines that I can use in all of my enclosures, not just my emeralds, but I use it for my iguana and for my king snakes. Everybody loves the vines that we make out of the soaker hose. And I've seen a lot of people get those little balls. I know Bob from Green Room Pythons, he's the first person I saw with it. And they're like a cat toy or something that you just get in the pet store. And the snakes can slither in and out of it. So I know that there are all different types of enrichment items that we could get. I just because I only keep basically these snakes, I started giving vines to all of my animals. And they all enjoy it. Wow, look at Rura.
So she has the biggest eyes. I don't know if you can be able to see it. There you go.
Oh,
And this
yes.
little beak snake.
And you said that she's back fanged venomous. Now I
Rear fanged, yeah.
rear
Rear
fanged, and
fanged.
I only learned what that was about a year and a half ago.
So she, her fangs in the rear of her mouth do have a mild toxin, but that means that when she envenomates, she really has to gnaw on her prey to do that. It's not a defense. It's not something that they really use in defense. And this is not a defensive girl. And she just has the cutest little beak that she sometimes nuzzles. You can see some great photos of her on my Instagram, but she like nuzzles her beak into my hand a lot of times.
Mhm.
You see it? There you
Yes.
go.
Well, we do
She's
find those vine snakes in the jungle, and they have that like long snout that comes out.
oh yeah.
So hers is similar in that shape, but just not as long. And they're also rear fanged venomous, which is when I learned about that.
Mm. So she's just very curious. She is a rufous beak snake. There are multiple subspecies. She's a Ramphiophis oxyrhynchus. So she's the red version. of the Ramphiophis. Very rare to find in captivity. She is captive hatched, and she is just a darling. I was getting her a friend because they are communal, but unfortunately that snake died before I even got it.
Mm.
In a freak accident. So we don't know if we're gonna find her a friend, but if we can, we will. But she's just, I mean, this girl, they were like, you don't, it's not a handling snake. You probably don't want to handle her. She was taking chin rubs right off the bat. So, I'm still aware and like conscious of her. She looks like she's getting darker. It looks like she's going to go into shed pretty soon, but look at that face.
Oh, yes. Those eyes and that little beak, she's just beautiful.
And her eyes, I mean, she can see you from 10, 15 feet away. She is extremely aware.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. So if anyone happens to come across somebody who has captive hatched or captive bred, let me know because it's hard to find them. Very rare. But anyway,
she's precious. Well,
go
it
back to
really
enrichment.
that's just another thing too, is one keeper might have them and they're not handleable at all. But then once your energy starts flowing with them, it changes everything.
She's like, what? She can see the screen. She's looking at the little ticker tape. She's so aware of everything.
Wow.
She also, she comes from like a place where it's like really sunny and hot. As soon as we walk outside, I take her outside, her whole body relaxes. And she just like goes in the sunlight. It's just amazing. It's like I can feel her body change.
Wow.
As soon as we walk outside, she loves it.
And where does she come from naturally?
In Africa, there's some confusion online. I've been doing a lot of research, and there's people that say it's a Western and Eastern, a cross. Like I've seen sightings recorded all across the middle of Africa down to the southeast, but Wikipedia says one thing, research papers say another. So not a lot is known about these guys.
Wow.
She does this little head bob thing and she's checking things out. Anyway, little Rura sighting I thought might make people happy because she's so cute.
Yes, she really is just adorable. How old is she? Did I already ask you that?
She's almost a year and a half.
She's a baby.
Yeah, she won't get too big though. Probably like her tail is most of her length. It's so long, but they're like 4 feet long usually. So she's almost getting there.
And she's not arboreal?
Oh, she likes to climb.
Because you said her tail was so long.
She's got this beak, right? And supposedly they go into burrows and that kind of thing. So you would make it makes sense with their biology that they would burrow. Oh, I hope so. I'm gonna try. But I decided to give her a lot of rocks to climb on, and I also decided to see if she would utilize a tree. And I just coated a branch, and I made a rock that. Ooh, see how aware she is when I move my hands?
Yes.
I made a branch sprouting up out of rocks, and she loves to climb up and drape herself over it. So
fabulous.
They'll do more than we give them credit for.
Yes, the more we give them, the more they use.
Yeah,
they'll use.
I say just give it to them, and then if they never ever use it, then you can take it out. But give them a chance for like 6 months before you make a call.
What's something you could put into just a plain enclosure to add a little height for something to climb on? That's simple.
Yeah. So you can even just like get like a shelving bracket from Home Depot and put a little piece of pre-cut material in there so that you create another level for them to utilize, and put a hide up there and put some like maybe a rock or something like that up there that gives another layer, and maybe put, a piece of PVC or a branch or whatever you can find to get up there. Make sure it's secure so it doesn't fall over, because if you have a heavy bodied snake, you don't want them falling. But you can, if you have an enclosure where you can screw to the walls, that's something good. Or you can probably find like a cheap little stand online, or at the, I don't know, at the dollar store or whatever, just any kind of platform kind of
Hey,
thing.
what about those things you hang up in your shower to put like soap and shampoo?
Yeah, as long as it's not the bars,
Are
so they
fat
often have
enough?
wires. So maybe get a plastic one
Hmm.
instead of the wire ones, because they could get stuck.
Hmm.
You don't want anything they could get stuck in.
No.
Um, I like hanging things from the ceiling. So even if you have a screen top, you can use twisty ties and wire. Make sure the wire is poking out, not in, but when you tie it off, but or zip ties, and you can hang things like those balls you were just talking about are great to hang from the ceiling, and
Mm-hmm.
they'll climb up in there. Or bird toys. You can get these bird toys on Amazon for like $15 or less, and they hang from the ceiling. Alora has one. She's in there all the time.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just like a little hidey spot, but it's up, and they love it. So it doesn't have to be for snakes, and it doesn't have to be, something fancy.
Yes, that's a great idea. The bird toys.
Bird toys and rodent toys. They have like little ladders,
Mm.
like wooden ladders, and I use some of
Mm-hmm.
those sometimes. So,
And like I have a king snake that we took in that lived, as long as I know, 4 years in a drawer. And
mm.
she, like you said, never came out. And we started letting her out, and she's great now. She's amazing. She's one of our most social animals. You open the door and she'll come right out and greet the people. And we were letting her roam out before we got all the hamsters that roam. And she climbed, our iguana is a free roam, and she has a huge habitat in the window all the way up at the ceiling. And Serapi, our Aztec California king snake, slithered all the way up there.
Wow.
So that's when we decided to give her all those vines and all the stuff. And she came out of a drawer with newspaper and a water bowl. And now she uses those. She's always just lounging all around in those vines.
Yeah.
So they don't have to be arboreal to appreciate some stuff to climb on.
Oh no, yeah. Th- You just you're just paying attention, huh? Yeah, Cydia, that's a good idea. Mini wine shelf, desktop paper organizers. That's kind of what I meant, like a little
Mm.
platform kind of thing, like a
Mhm.
stand that then you can, yeah, like you can put things, you can put other things on are cool too. So like hides, because the more that you do that kind of thing, the more you give them, the more you're going to see them, and the more you clutter the space. So you definitely want to clutter. It doesn't have to be live plants. I don't use a lot of live plants, but I definitely recommend as many, like go to the dollar store and get fake plants. It doesn't have to be fancy, but give them the opportunity to be at least somewhat hidden all the time, no matter where they are in their enclosure. And they're gonna come out more.
And
Mhm.
I can't see the name enough to pronounce it. Is it Skydia?
Lydia.
Skydia.
Lydia, yeah.
The thrift store, you go back to the brick and brack little department, and how fun it is to just stare at everything on the shelves and try to see what could I use in there. And the dollar store too, to just, you know, look around, and you never know what's going to pop out. But can you just talk real quick about safety? You mentioned the bars. You don't want anything that they think. It doesn't matter if they can get through it, but if they think they can get through it, you're in trouble. So what kind of things would you want to look out for?
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of people have these like weird hides that are like skulls and stuff, and they have the eyes that they can climb through, but you have to be aware that they might try and go through those holes, and if they're too big to fit, they can get stuck. Then things that are like if you lean things up against the wall, well, if they climb it, you need to make sure that it doesn't fall and hurt them, or they don't fall and hurt themselves on something else. Also, a matter of pokey bits, like you don't want any pokey bits because that can hurt them. Things they can scratch themselves or their eyes on. So, things without sharp corners and edges. Cydia, yes. What shelf can I read
Oh,
this time? Yeah,
Cydia. I see. The C is
Cydia.
science.
Mm-hmm.
Cydia. Okay. Thank you,
Cydia
Cydia.
is, Cydia is on my Discord and on my Patreon. You are just the cutest.
Just I think you're gonna have an ambassador there for sure.
I think so. Hi, sweetie.
Have you
Hi.
got to see how her energy is with other people yet?
With my husband, but she got sick when I first got her. So I've had her she was in quarantine up until very recently. She's doing much better now.
And what kind of sickness did she have?
So she came to me with a torn spectacle. So what the breeder said when I took one look at her, and I was like, "What's on her eye?" He said, "Oh, it's just a bit of stuck shed." And I was like, that, okay. Didn't go away, got worse. And it was actually like a hole into her spectacle. So that was a thing. And then mites, that was fun. So at the same time.
Yes, poor
And
baby.
yeah, and that was just a whole month or two of hell for a
How do you
while.
know that she's captive bred and born?
So I have to she's not captive bred, she's captive hatched. So
Or
basically
yeah,
he got a wild caught, and the female laid eggs in captivity. So she was not taken out of the wild, but her mother was. So we're hoping for more people breeding them in captivity. I would definitely recommend not getting wild caught. Captive hatched, there is a big difference. Seems to be, from what I've heard, that these guys are fast when they want to be. So they're not really defensive, but they are fast, and they're going to be a little bit chiller and more maybe curious about you if they're captive hatched or captive bred. I forgot to take a twist tie off my. Aw. Yeah,
yes,
I have.
stuff like that
What's more?
happens.
Yeah, I have no idea how she tore her spectacle. Like, it's baffling. And it was like that when she got to me, but it got really bad. So we had to do daily medication in her eyeball. She was brand new to me. And this meant that every single day, I don't normally handle my snakes every single day. And I handled her every day, had to hold her little head. And sometimes she just let me put the eye drops in without holding her head.
Wow.
So this is a very special animal right here.
So did you take her to the vet to
Yes, I
learn
did.
all that?
Yes. Yeah. When she shed and that supposedly stuck shed did not go away and it was even worse, I took her right in. Yeah. So
How often do you think you visit the vet?
Well, when I got her seen, I then decided to get everybody seen.
Wow.
Because also for possibility that the mites might spread, I wanted to
Mhm.
get them all seen so I could get NexGard and treat them if it spread. And in order to get that prescription, yes, I think she did know. In
Nice.
order to get that prescription, the vet had to have on record that he had seen all of my snakes.
Wow.
I lucked out, and he came to my house and saw all of them at once. And it
Incredible.
was very quick. And so I had all their weights and their species and their, and he just took a look at their bodies and marked on his little thing that he had seen them. But, oh, did you just dig in my little, she just went nuzzled
Oh,
into my little hand, in my hand.
that's so cute.
But, I had taken my MBK in just for a checkup recently, and I don't know. I mean, I think a yearly visit makes sense. It's really hard to tell with reptiles when they're not healthy, and sometimes you can't tell for a while. I haven't done yearly visits, but I'm really glad. I was like, you know what? I'm really glad to get them all seen.
Mhm.
They
Yes,
were all
because I
healthy.
was trying to imagine you putting them all in bags or what did you use?
Oh
But
no,
he
I
came
didn't
right to
want to
your
do
house.
that.
Incredible.
Well, they told me that I would have to bring them all in, and I said, wait, you're telling me that you want to bring a mite infested snake. You want me to bring a mite infested snake with all of my other snakes into your vet's office? That's the
Right,
dumbest
right.
thing I've ever heard. Like, no, I'm not doing that. Luckily, I got rid of the mites on my own. So in the end, even though I got the prescription, I did not need to give it to them. And now I just have it. So
Perfect.
if I have an outbreak ever, uh, then I can treat everybody. But luckily, it took me a month of cleanings and cleanings and cleanings with her to make sure they were gone, and they were gone for 2 months. And I was like, all right, it looks like they're not coming back, and she's doing great. She's doing great.
Fabulous.
Moved her into a 6 foot, 6 by 2 by 2.
Very nice. And what is her
Yeah.
maximum, length that you know of?
I think she gets about 4 feet-ish, but
Oh,
she's
that's a
pretty
beautiful
long
snake.
already.
And then when
But
you find her partner, they'll be able to
eight
live
feet at
together.
least. Yeah, 8 feet. I'll expand it.
Oh,
So
you will?
Apex,
Mhm.
yeah, Apex, I can open it up and put another 2 foot cube in the middle. So
Mm,
the plan was to, once they were together, then I would give them 8 feet.
fantastic. And the other question I wanted to ask, and I wasn't sure because I didn't wanna make it a mean question, but, was the male who died, did he come from the same home she came from? Oh, a different home.
No. Yeah, and it's a very respectable breeder. It was a freak accident that
Mm,
happened while they were away,
mm,
unfortunately, and it was the last one. They had
mm.
been holding it for me for 2 months. It was
Wow,
heartbreaking
I
that
bet.
this happened literally the week before they were shipping them to me, and I had been waiting. Like, we could have done it earlier, and, ugh, it was heartbreaking. So we'll see. Hopefully,
Yes,
I mean, if they're communal, I want to give that to them. Yeah, it was.
yes.
I was shocked at how sad I was, because I wasn't putting them together right away. Obviously, I was gonna give quarantine, and also the size difference. I wanted to make sure they were more of the same size. So I spent a month building an enclosure for this little baby that I was getting, and I poured love into it so much, and I was so excited to see them together eventually. And then I found that out the day before I was supposed to get it. We didn't know if it was a boy or a girl.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I was devastated.
Well, another baby is coming to fill that space soon, I just know it.
We will see. Also, just a note on this species, that if you do see them at a reptile expo and the breeder says they've sexed them, that's a bad thing. This species should not be probed, absolutely not be probed ever, because you will sterilize them. And popping them is bad too, and it's not even 100%. So really sending in a shed is you're going to be the closest you're going to get to finding out what the sex is until you put them together and see if they mate. So I don't know. Unfortunately, the guy I got for her from said he popped her, which could cause breaks in their spine that can develop into kinks later. But if they probe them, bad, very, very bad. They do not do well with that. So just something to be aware of with this particular species, Ramphiophis oxyrhynchus, which I love the name too.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to put her back and then I'll be right back. Yeah, she's about to go into shed, so she's a little darker right now.
That was a fabulous treat to get to spend time with her like that. We, in this room, I don't know if Shira can hear us, but when she said that sometimes you don't know until you put them together, and that's what's happened to us in here. We've had 4 of my emeralds, well, 5, because one northern as well. We took into this house as a different sex than what they turned out to be. And 2 of those, we just happened to find out that when I thought we had 2 males, all of a sudden they're mating. And one of those males has already had a litter of babies. And the other one of those males, we believe is pregnant right now. So sometimes we don't know until they're together.
Oh man. Yeah, I just kind of was like, well, I'm not a breeder. I do not intend to breed. What I wanted to do was give them what I thought they would be getting in the wild, which is community. And knowing that they are communal animals made me feel like I don't want to keep her alone in a box if they're communal. So it wasn't about breeding for me. So I didn't really care but I was like, I may have surprise babies in like 5 years. I don't know. Maybe.
Yes. Incredible. Marilla asked if I was going to take an animal out, and I do actually have a visiting animal here at Happy Basins that is visiting us from North Carolina he's going to college here for 2 semesters. His family sent him here to work as an ambassador so that the whole world can see how amazing he is, as well as come and spread his genes. So, maybe if Larry can bring me that animal, that would be pretty amazing. He's an incredible specimen. Are you going to do that, love? Thank you. So yeah, we'll check him out. He's a northern emerald tree boa, not like the southern emeralds that I have down here. We do have.
You're breeding northern to southern?
No.
Oh, okay.
Have upstairs. I was rehabilitating a beautiful northern male for somebody, and she ended up surrendering the animal to me, and now she just lives here. So this animal is going to breed to that northern, as well as we got another northern when we went to Tinley, a female. We never expected for it to happen, but you guys, I'm getting goosebumps right now. She was just like all coiled up. Oh, golly. It must be a crying day for me. She was all coiled up, and I went over and looked at her. I'd been asking everybody, have you seen any emeralds? Have you seen any emeralds? I just wanted to see if I recognized them, actually, because I work with the wild animals in Suriname. So I always wonder if I might recognize one, because I feel like I would know. And so I went over, and she just like came out of her coil and looked up at me and started coming close. And I was telling Larry to come here. And as soon as he walked over there, we instantly knew she was going home with us. So we also have her. And then I have another northern emerald that Gabriel knows about. She's a big secret, and she was surrendered to me recently. She's actually a very famous northern emerald. So I have 4 northern emeralds in this house right now. 1 going to
Wow.
college and 2 surrendered to me and 1 that said she was coming home with us one way or the other.
Wow. How many total do you have now?
A lot. I
When you
have,
you don't even have the number.
yeah, I do. We have, I have 15 basin emeralds of ours. And then I also have another basin here visiting from my friend Ron Rundo, because I have a female who hates everybody. She loves all the people. She's the most handleable animal, but she does not want to be near other female snakes. She does not want to be near
Oh,
any males. She just goes crazy. So my friend Rundo's animal is the most gentle, sweetest creature. And so he
hmm.
wanted to see if Mommy Wada might like Agador. So he brought Agador over. So I do actually have a visiting basin and a visiting northern in the house right now. So we've
Wow.
pretty much turned into a sanctuary, really. And
That's my dream.
it's
Mm.
amazing. And I've developed a very special adoption process because we also never wanted to be breeders.
Mhm.
So I'm not going to talk about all of that, but the special adoption process is very entailed. So these animals are not being sold to the public. They are being very mindfully adopted. And their parents have to
Awesome.
come and visit our Happy Basins jungle to be able to adopt one. And at first I thought that was a really crazy idea. Who's going to do that? But it turns out people will do it. So I want people to
Absolutely.
experience all of this enrichment, see how the animals respond, because once you do, you can't go back.
Yeah.
You can't not give your animals this once
No.
they've experienced it.
Oh, yeah. If I ever did have any babies, they would go to very hand-picked places. They would not just be like sold to whoever wants them. I would have to know that they were getting all the things that they needed, you know.
Yes.
So I
And the
really
kind of
respect that a
people,
lot.
yes. And then those people have to be of our mindset, because where are our grandchildren going to go?
Yeah.
So the hardest thing about having babies is to think that anybody in any generation would ever end up in a tub or a drawer. And
Right.
I know that some folks do keep their animals in tubs and drawers, who also provide a lot of enrichment. For example,
Mhm.
like Bob from Green Room Pythons, he does use those types of enclosures, but he provides lots of enrichment and stimulation inside of the enclosures and outside. So you can make
Mhm.
it work, like we talked about different things for enrichment.
Yeah,
All
for
right.
sure. On
So
the
you
on the
guys, this is Travis. Thank you for asking, Morelia. Travis,
Oh,
the complete sweetheart. He is a patternless male
patternless.
northern emerald tree boa. He's not super super rare, but pretty rare, very unique. And I'm super excited to get to try to make babies with this animal. Um, Not to mention his sweetness. If you guys saw the video when I picked him up from FedEx and Ron Rundo was driving me home in the car, and I had Travis here because we wanted him out of the box as soon as possible. That's why Rundo took me, so that he wouldn't have to stay in the box the whole drive home, which was about a little over an hour. And
Mm,
how Travis came about is I found one just like him, pure patternless, wild in the jungle, and I fell so in love
really?
with her. And um I wanted one so bad, but people who have these don't part with them. So it
Right.
was really super amazing that I have some people who believe in the ambassadorship like we do and all of the things, and they wanted him to come and be shown as to break the stigma on these northern emerald tree boas that they're vicious. And so his goal here is not solely for spreading his genes, but also to be showcased as an ambassador. And that was one of the stipulations of him coming here. Isn't that amazing?
That's amazing.
Somebody
It's amazing.
loaned us this beautiful animal and said, hold him, love him, and show the world how sweet he is.
So cool. That is so cool.
Yes. Thanks for asking, Morelia. I would have never thought of bringing someone out.
Yeah. That made me think, because I'm so jealous of you and your like room full of vines where they can just be like, that is my dream, and I do intend to make that happen someday. But in my home, um, I do have dogs, and I have a rabbit that we found on the street. But we have other animals, and the house that we live in is very old, and it's not safe environment for the snakes to be free roaming, and it breaks my heart because I wish I could do it. That's why, another reason why I go so overboard as much as I can for their enclosures, because I can't just let them, and that makes me sad.
Yes.
And I want them to have as much as they possibly can in their environment. So I mean, I can take them out if I lock the dogs up, or I can take them outside and lock the dogs inside, but like letting them just do their thing. So that's why I feel like I have to do more in their enclosures. But it is totally my dream to have something like what you have.
Yes, and
Oh,
we
I love
talked
it.
about that when we were together in Florida. That was a big part of our conversation. And it is a real
Hmm.
treat to be able to do this. It's incredible. And
It's
I
amazing.
always say that jealousy is just a form of inspiration.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, I'm just in awe, and like it's just like I'm inspired, and I'm going to do it someday. And it's just going to happen somehow. I can't at the moment. So
Yes,
I have to
yes.
compensate.
Yes, even if you closed off the room, like you said, you have
There's just too
an
much.
older house with different spaces and
Yeah, I let Helios, my big Chilabothrus, go an adventure in here, and he ended up in a situation where it took me and my husband both to get him down. It took forever, and it was just like, this is not going to work.
right. Stressful for you
Yeah.
guys and for him.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
one thing I didn't even ask you, and I meant to ask you when we were talking about how long you had been doing the enclosures, which a year and a half
Mm.
blew my mind because it looks like you've been doing this for decades. So how long have you been interested in snakes or had snakes? Both of those questions.
Oh, okay. So, the first snake I got, I was 18. I'm going to reveal my age here. It was the late 90s. It was late 90s. And I had been terrified of snakes up until that point, until I had a moment that was changed everything. So I had a boa for 20 years. Um, and he was my best friend, and I loved him to death. And then I got a couple more snakes nearing the end of his life. But when he died, I was so devastated that I just had to take a break. And I rehomed the remaining snake that I had and took a break. So I didn't get back into herpeticulture until 2019. And that's when I got Anu, my Mexican black king snake. And that's when I started actually learning, because when I first started keeping snakes, I knew nothing, absolutely nothing. I got him from a feed and tack store, like that had reptiles
Wow.
for some reason. Um, and they did not give me good information at all. But he lived 20 years with me. He was a year and a half when I got him. So yeah, I did not know a lot. And it wasn't until I got back into it that then I really started like, okay, I need to learn more. And oh my God, there's all this stuff on YouTube. I'm like, well, okay, now I can really learn. And then that's really when this all I got 3 snakes to start, and then now I have 10.
Fabulous. And
Yeah.
you said that was in the 90s when you got your girl that
First
you had for
one.
so long. Mhm.
It was a boy, yeah. His name was Yuja. He was a BCI, a common boa, and he actually I had a pretty rough time of it when I was in my teens and 20s. Went through some really rough stuff, and I now think back about to like how he soothed me and how he comforted me, and how he would. I felt like he was telling me, like I would take him out and I'd be really anxious or depressed or having stuff physically going on, and I felt like he told me to lie down. I'd be like, okay. And he'd like lie down, and like he would just massage me and just sit with me and sit on me.
Mm.
I felt like I could hear him. I remember this as like a 20-year-old. And it wasn't until I started this whole snake therapy thing that I was just like, I knew back then. I knew back then that they just helped. Snakes equal therapy, yeah.
Yes.
He was so, I don't know, we just had this really amazing connection. I just felt really deeply connected to him, but I felt like he could just tell me what to do.
Lover, can you just put the camera on him, please?
Everybody wants to see the snake.
I'm not the one asking. It's Morelia. He looks so beautiful up there. He's so relaxed. And yes, Gabriel, this is the first time Travis has been on these vines. He does have a fabulous vine system in his visiting home that he's in here, but this is his first time he's been on the actual jungle room vines.
Oh, look at that. He's so relaxed.
Yeah, he's loving it. He's just appreciated everything. He gets showers at home, but here he actually has the rain chamber where it comes out as like real rain and
Mhm.
everything. So, thanks, love.
Oh, that's so awesome. Love it. Love it.
Yes, that's incredible when you talk about that the animal was talking to you.
I felt
I
like
mean,
that.
could that be one of the connections with these people? So I'll say I don't really know the correct thing, but I think special needs is okay. Of all different types of special needs, especially those who can't verbally communicate or express themselves, there could be something we don't know because Larry and I, and he's not crazy like me, but we both feel that our animals talk to us. We know it.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
hear it. Like you say, it's a different kind of sound. So that would probably be a study we would never be able to do because
Yeah, I know, right?
those are, people who aren't able to communicate exactly, and the snakes can't tell us. So
Well, but the snakes do tell us with their body language, right? So they can talk to us in that way. And on that note, like people who have trouble reading humans, like people with autism, where reading facial expressions and cues and verbal communication is difficult, like they have spoken a lot to me about how they get snakes. Like they understand. They feel like they're not complicated. They're like they tell me what they need. That's honest. It's real. Like I can read them as opposed to humans who are just like really complicated, and everybody says what they don't mean and means what they don't say, and like you know what I mean. So there's something there for sure. You can feel it through the force. Yes. You
yes,
feel
that's right.
everything
Through the
through the
forest.
force.
That's right.
Yeah.
Morelia, what did you say about I can see dark stripes on him where the white would be? Yes, he has a very, very light, they call that an anaconda phase, but his is much lighter than a regular anaconda phase. So he has a co-dominant gene of patternless. So he is considered a patternless, even though he does have those very light dark markings in him. You guys, I have had so much fun.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for chatting with us. Before we go, I just want to give a huge shout out again. I mentioned it earlier to you guys, all of you that are here with us on our live broadcasts and liking and loving our content. That, you know, that's a volunteer job, because you know, people think you make money off those things, but you have to have tens of thousands of followers to make any money off of things. So everything we do is just out of the love that we want to share and educate. Chris, Shira, me, we all just want to share the love in you guys. And because of the community that you've provided, it drives us to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Spending
Absolutely.
the time and putting the energy. And also the real thing that made me appreciate this community so much more is that when I first started sharing and doing the things I'm doing, and I know we can all probably say it who try to share, is there's a group of people who don't like there's always people who don't like what you're doing. So it's so important to keep letting the people you're inspired by, letting them know you're inspired, because
100%.
counteracts the stuff that makes you cry for not good reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I could say a quick thing on that. I had a pretty nasty 2 months of hate coming at me in my channel. And, you know, when you do so much work for nothing to put goodness and positivity into the world, and people are just coming at you and just like hating on you so much, it can be so disheartening. And I think that, I mean, it was my Discord community that helped me get through that. They were so supportive and kind and caring and understanding. And then it was you, Amy, because right after that, I was almost not going to go to Animal Con because I was so traumatized. It was so horrible, and it was just nonstop. And I was like, should I even be going to this? Like, I don't even know. People are going to see me and hate on me. And I decided to go, and I got to hang out with you a bunch, and it
We
was
needed
so
each
good.
other that weekend. It just worked out perfect. We just came right together,
Yeah.
and it turned out we both needed the love and support of each other, and it was perfect.
Yeah. And so it just kind of like, and not that it stopped right away when I got back, it continued a bit, but still like having that community and the people that like see you. And
Yes,
I see you,
and I see you.
Amy. And there are people out there, all of you watching and listening,
Oh, brilliant.
that thank you, because we are not doing this for fame. We are not doing this for money. We are not doing this because it's easy, because it's not. None of it is. I mean, people have no clue how much work goes into just doing this thing. And
Mhm.
so the people that stick with us, they are obviously in it for the same reasons, and we really appreciate you.
Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you.
I feel thrilled every time I see you guys. And I know there are a lot of people there watching out here who click on the links from a Facebook post or something like that. And then, you know, you can't like things or make comments when you do it that way. And I know you're out there, and I really appreciate you. We all appreciate your love and support. Thank you.
Yeah. So lots more of this. I love this. This is great. We could talk for hours.
Yes. Why don't you
You know,
give us
yeah.
your oh, I just thought I just forgot. Like, what is the thing that you
Where you can.
want most for people to take out of hearing from you?
It would definitely be that the more we give, the more we get. And the more we get, the more we should give. And that we can do the right thing for ourselves and we can do the right thing for them by giving more to them. Let me appreciate you, Ghost.
Thanks, Gabriel.
And that's, I think, what we need more of. And in this community and in herpetic culture is like not going with the minimum, going with more, because honestly, you will get more out of it. If that's what you need, like to get you to do it, then yeah.
Bigger brains. It's a proven fact now.
It's literally the size of their brains.
I love that. Give us that site one more time. Research
Well,
of
you can
reptiles.
find research and reptiles and research has an interview with the guy who did the study, and then he has a debate or a couple different videos about this topic in particular. So yeah, the study came out recently. And Sia, you're still here. I love you so much. Love it. Anyway, yeah, I think that would be the primary thing, and be kind would be my other thing.
Yes,
Be kind.
thank you. Definitely being nice to each other. Someone made a post the other day. It said, "Don't judge others when you don't know what they're going through," or something. And it was like a little 2-sentence thing. And I was like, all we need are those first 3 words. Don't judge others. Period. We all have different things and we're all learning, and it's better to inspire people than to judge them.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for spending this time with us, and thank you all for being here with us today. Like I said, it just kept happening that my eyes were filling with tears. This was an extremely heartfelt, real close to our hearts and passionate conversation. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you, Chris.
It was an honor.
Under neon lights so cold they hum, shadows of scales where whispers come. A world of emeralds and tales untold, chasing the warmth in a world so cold. Happy basins we rise and glow, charmed Trojan stories the world should know. Emerald dreams in a twilight sky, together we thrive as the days go by. Amy speaks with a voice so kind, spreading the knowledge to ease the mind.